Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining for today's Hot Topic session on measuring performance, and hello to our audience on Twitter as well. I'm going to be speaking today about how to understand the impact of your e-content collections using our upcoming EZproxy Analytics service. All right. Oh, and this is a good reminder to introduce myself. So my name's Hank Sway. I'm product manager for EasyProxy at OCLC. I've been at OCLC for about 3 years, and prior to that, I worked in both public and academic libraries where I did various aspects of managing EasyProxy, so I'm familiar with the tool from that perspective as well. All right, so let's dive right in. I know what you might be thinking about, EasyProxy at the OCLC booth at ALA. That's an interesting choice. Well, the reason we're doing this is because we have some exciting problems that we're solving regarding understanding e-resource usage using your proxy logs. So the reason we're doing this, the problem we wanted to solve, we know that there's a tremendous amount of data locked in those EasyProxy logs, and it can be very difficult to extract that data and get meaningful insights out of it. So we wanted to make it easier to tell those data-driven stories using the data in your EasyProxy logs, and to support data-driven decisions using that log. So we're figuring out new ways of visualizing and querying the data in those logs, and providing a platform to get statistics for all of your e-resource platforms in a single place. And we're finding that this is a very useful tool in augmenting those statistics that you get from your individual content providers as well. So we are in the process of a pilot of this service. We're working with 6 libraries for the pilot, 3 in the US and 3 in Europe. And we're figuring out various new ways of enriching that EasyProxy usage data and deploying a user interface that allows dashboard-style reporting on that data, as well as the ability to conduct custom queries on that data. We're collaborating with these 6 libraries to learn about their goals in analyzing e-resource usage, which has been really helpful for us in making the system as useful as possible for them. And we'll be launching this service this calendar year in 2019. And at launch, this service will be an add-on available for our hosted EasyProxy customers. So these are the 6 institutions we're working with, 3 in the US and 3 in Europe. They've been great to work with, and we've learned a lot through this partnership. So if anyone from our pilot consortium is listening in, thanks so much for your work with us. Oop. Okay. Thought I missed one there. Okay, we're good. So how the system works. It's made possible through our partnership with the Couperon Consortium in France. They're the developers of the EasyParse log analyzer, which is a very important component of this toolkit here. So as we know, EasyProxy logs a tremendous amount of data. What EasyParse does is it combs through those usage logs, and it transforms that data into meaningful access events. So those events can then be ingested into a data visualization platform in order to generate some awesome graphs and reports and data visualizations. We're using a platform called Kibana to do that. It's an open source log analyzing tool that is very widely used in the industry, and you can create some very powerful visualizations with that tool. So we've got plenty of screenshots here to show you. What we're finding with our pilot libraries is that the data visualizations they're creating and the use cases they have for this data fall into 3 primary categories. So the first of these is about demonstrating the library value. Second is collection management, and the third is monitoring illegal usage of e-resources. So I'm going to the rest of my presentation essentially is going through these use cases and how our pilot libraries have been using the system to support them. So there we go. So the first of these, demonstrating library value. What we're finding is that this platform is very effective in showing e-resource usage across your various subscriptions. So if you're interested in figuring out, how much mileage you're getting from each of your e-resource vendors and how that's having an impact on your user base, this can be a very powerful tool. We're finding, many of our libraries have a single or a couple of platforms that comprise the majority of their usage, and then there's a long tail following that out, as you can see in a graph like this. You can also take another level of granularity here as well, so you can look within a given e-content package and figure out, okay, how many of these usage events on this package are actual article accesses or ebook accesses versus a table of contents or an abstract or a reference link. So you really can get a very rich level of detail out of these platforms that often goes beyond the statistics you can get in a counter report or something of that nature from a particular vendor. You can also create visualizations about when your patrons are accessing various resources. So this chart here shows usage over about a 3-month period from the end of 2018 into the beginning of 2019. This is for one of our pilot institutions in California. So you can see over on the left side of the graph here, there's a big spike right before the final exam period. Not a giant surprise here, but it's good to have data to support those conclusions and really understand what those patterns are. And then, you have the holiday lull and things start to perk up around the beginning of the spring semester again. You can also look at that usage over a shorter period of time as well. So you could say, okay, I just want to look at usage week over week. What this institution found was that Thursday evenings tended to be a very particularly busy time for e-resource usage amongst their users. So, that allows them to ask the question, okay, what are the services we should be providing to patrons at that time? Are there some additional online reference services we should be offering, et cetera? So you really can get very granular with the level of usage that you examine. Finally, you can also look at data about where patrons are when they're accessing resources. So this graph indicates that the single largest group of usage here, about 2/3 of usage over this particular time, was coming in via their Shibboleth authentication system, meaning those users were off campus. So understanding for your e-resource usage how much of that is off campus versus on campus is again going to be really important in deciding how you can offer the best services to your community. All right, so the next use case bucket we've covered here was collection management. So I'm going to show some specific graphs here as well. So within the platform, you can also restrict your analysis to usage of a particular platform. This one here happens to be Oxford University Press. So you can look at usage, over whichever period of time that you define and say, okay, within OUP, how much of that access was articles, how much of it was tables of contents, and you can really get very precise statistics when you filter down to those periods. This example is from Sage. So this institution subscribes to more ebook content through Sage as opposed to journal content. So you can look at within this package, how many of these accesses are actually book chapter accesses versus table of contents and references and so on. So we're, again, we're capturing quite a bit of granular detail here in these statistics. This is a screenshot of the query interface within EZproxy Analytics. So we have a very advanced query interface where you can limit your search results by publisher or platform or any type of data that gets loaded into the system. We also have the ability to download this data into a spreadsheet for further analysis if that's how you prefer to conduct that analysis. So if you took this data and downloaded it into a spreadsheet, it would look something like this. So that's a powerful tool for conducting further analysis as well. We are also finding, this is an example from Claremont in California, The statistics available in this tool via the proxy logs are filling some gaps in those vendor-provided statistics. This search was for a particular journal called Black Thought and Culture, for which the librarian had never been able to get counter reports before from Alexander Street Press. So we're finding a few examples of, where, we actually have statistics for this resource for the first time. So that's been quite powerful. Another factor that this is another example from Claremont that our users have been able to analyze here is Claremont operates on a consortial model with their hosted EasyProxy server. So the librarian there is able to analyze some of the audit logs on the EasyProxy server using this platform to identify which campuses were logging into the system. And that was another type of reporting she hadn't been able to do easily in the past. So she produced a really awesome table of how many loggage were coming from each campus, and that was really helpful for her in understanding usage over the fall and spring terms. All right, so the final use case here I'm going to cover is how you can use this to monitor illegal usage of your e-resource packages. So using this tool, we're able to create geographic-based visualizations of your EasyProxy data. So that allows you to look at known centers of cyber criminal activity. For example, here's a screenshot of usage from Iran. That's not necessarily a drop-dead sign that you have a compromised account, but it's a pretty good sign that your set of institutional credentials has been compromised and perhaps sold on Sci-Hub or a similar site. And you can then say, okay, who's accessing from Iran? Is that actually where they are? Do we need to do a password reset on that account? And so on. We can also look at logins from multiple geographic regions. So if you have a particular user whose credentials have been accessed from multiple countries over a very short period of time, over 24 hours, for example, that's another indication that that account has been compromised. So you can take appropriate action with your institution's authentication provider to reset that password, et cetera. You can also look at the number of failed login attempts via the EasyProxy server. So if a user account has had, say, 20 failed login attempts over, again, a short period of time, that's a sign that somebody malicious is attempting to brute force that password. So again, that's a good prompt to strengthen that password. All right. So that's all I had for you today. I'm happy to take questions from the audience here. I'm going to sign off for our Twitter audience, so thanks so much for joining.